this video we'll review the hidden power of the crop factor and how it can instantly improve your videos. This is just one of the videos from our course, Storyteller's Guide to Lenses, but there's so much more to learn. As a VideoMaker Plus member, you'll get access to over 45 courses on every aspect of video production, like our course on the basics of visual storytelling. It, like this one, will help you take your videos to the next level. And right now, you can get free unlimited access. Just click on this card and sign up now. Don't miss this chance to improve your videos. A crop factor, sometimes called a focal length multiplier, is a measurement that tells you how much your camera's sensor crops an image when compared to a full frame sensor. For reference, a full-frame sensor is the same size as 35mm film. Full-frame sensors today are the standard for most mirrorless and DSLR cameras because they offer higher image quality and dynamic range and perform better in low-light conditions. But despite being the industry standard, not all cameras have a full-frame sensor. And that's not a bad thing either. Not everyone needs a full-frame camera. Some cameras feature smaller sensors that crop the image more. This shrinks the field of view and changes the depth of field and the lens's effective focal length. The crop factor gives you a sense of how much smaller the sensor is compared to a full-frame one. Take a Canon APS-C sensor as an example. Its crop factor is 1.6, meaning it's 1.6 times smaller than a full-frame sensor. Similarly, a Sony APS-C or Super 35 sensor has a 1.5 times crop factor, and a Micro Four Thirds sensor has a 2 times crop. So, how does a crop factor work? Let's say you have a full-frame camera paired with a 35mm lens. This combo gives you a specific field of view. Now, if you switch to a camera with a smaller sensor, say a Sony FX30 with an APS-C sensor, and use the same 35mm lens, you'll get a narrower field of view. This is because the smaller sensor crops out some of the image that the lens projects onto it. To get the same field of view as the full-frame camera, you'll need to use a wider lens, around 24mm. This leads us to the concept of effective focal length. The effective focal length is the focal length of a lens that would give you the same field of view on a full-frame camera as the lens you are using on your crop-sensored camera. For example, if you use a 35mm lens on the Sony FX30 with a APS-C sensor, the effective focal length is 52.5mm, and the math is 35mm times 1.5. This means that the 35mm lens on the APS-C camera gives you around the same field of view as 50mm lens on a full-frame camera. Now, how can you use this information to choose the right lens for your crop-sensored camera? One way is to buy lenses based on what the effective focal length is. For instance, if you want to shoot portraits, you might want to use a 50mm lens on a full-frame camera because this gives you a flattering perspective. But if you have an APS-C camera, you don't need to buy a 50mm lens. You can buy the more affordable and possibly lighter 35mm lens instead because it'll give you the same effective focal length and field of view as a 50mm lens on a full-frame camera. Another way to choose the lens for your crop sensor camera is to use the crop factor to calculate what focal length you need to get the same field of view as a full-frame camera. So, if you want to shoot landscapes, you might want to use a wide-angle lens, such as a 24mm lens or wider on a full-frame camera. If you're using an APS-C sensor with a crop factor of 1.5, you need to divide 24 by 1.5 to get 16. This means that you need to use a 16mm lens to get the same field of view as a 24mm lens on the full-frame Sony a7 IV. Use the crop factor to your advantage when shooting telephoto subjects. If you want to shoot wildlife or sports, you can use the crop factor to get closer to your subject without spending too much money on expensive telephoto lenses. For example, if you have an APS-C camera with a 500mm lens, you can get the same field of view as a 750mm lens on a full-frame camera, and the math is 500 times 1.5. This means you can fill more of the frame with your subject and get more details. You just watched one of the videos from our course, Storyteller's Guide to Lenses, but there's so much more to learn. As a VideoMaker Plus member, you'll get access to over 45 courses on every aspect of video production, like our course on the basics of visual storytelling. It, like this one, will help you take your videos to the next level. And right now, you can get free unlimited access. Just click on this card and sign up now. Don't miss this chance to take your videos to the next level. Thanks for watching.